north of the Arctic Circle, where the wild beauty of Finland meets the majestic landscapes of Norway, lies an unforgettable journey waiting to unfold. Experience this exhilarating motorcycle adventure with me as we set out to reach the legendary Nordkapp on the longest day of the year. My journey begins amidst the tranquil forests of Finland, where the whispering pines and the rolling hills stretch as far as the eye can see. For 3 days I traverse over 1,000 kilometers of lonely gravel roads, weaving through the dense woodland and tracing the border with Russia. It's a test of endurance and skill as I immerse myself into the raw beauty of the Arctic landscape. Crossing the Arctic Circle, I find myself in a realm where the daylight never ends. Here, the sun hangs low in the sky, painting the world in hues of gold and amber, as if time itself stood still. It's a surreal experience to ride beneath the never-ending light, to lose yourself in the vastness of the northern wilderness. With my sights set on the Nordkapp, I press onward, fueled by the promise of witnessing nature's grandeur at its peak. And when I finally reach my destination, standing on the northernmost point of Europe, I'm greeted by the mesmerizing sight of the midnight sun, casting its golden glow upon the icy waters below. But the adventure doesn't end here. With the Nordkapp behind me, I turn my wheels southward, tracing the rugged coastline of Norway for the next 9 days. Along the way, I encounter wonders beyond imagination. From the majestic peaks and mesmerizing landscapes of the Lofoten Islands to the heights of the Trollstigen Road. Among the many highlights of my trip, I'll be witnessing the world's strongest tidal current and exploring the Lysevegen Road, renowned as one of the most thrilling serpentine routes in Norway. As my journey draws to a close, I embark on one final highlight, a hike up the iconic Preikestolen, where I stand atop of the world, gazing out over the vast expanse below. It's a fitting end to this epic adventure in the north and a moment for reflection amidst the beauty and wonder of the Norwegian landscape. Join me as I journey high above the Arctic Circle, traversing the untamed landscapes of Scandinavia in pursuit of the midnight sun at the northernmost tip of Europe. This journey marks my second venture into the enchanting landscapes of Norway, a country that captured my heart during my initial visit the year prior. On that first visit, my brother and I ventured through the southwestern corner of Norway, exploring iconic sites such as the Atlantic Ocean Road, the Geiranger Fjord and the Trollstigen Road. Yet, our exploration was limited by time, leaving us yearning for the untouched beauty of the north. Following my Balkan road trip in late autumn 2021, this would be my second solo tour. The majority of my past motorcycle journeys have involved riding in a group with friends. While I relish the camaraderie of riding with companions and recounting our adventures over an evening beer, I was keen to embark on an entirely different experience riding solo. During this journey, I wanted to see if I would enjoy the solitude of riding by myself and if I would cherish the moments of introspection and self-discovery. I was curious about the chance encounters along the way that can make these journeys so extraordinary. Opting for a counter-clockwise route, I charted my course along the west coast of Norway towards the journey's end, allowing the anticipation to build with each passing mile. While numerous routes lead to the Nordkapp, I chose the Finnish route, granting myself the opportunity to explore the captivating landscapes of Finland, a country I'd yet to experience firsthand. Avoiding the monotony of straight paved roads, I embraced the challenge of traversing parts of the Trans-Eurotrail sections, winding through the rugged beauty of the Finnish forest on gravel roads. With a total of 18 days at my disposal, I strategically incorporated lengthy ferry rides to and from Finland and Norway, giving me 14 days to cover the nearly 6,000 kilometers of Scandinavian terrain. This is my first night in Finland and I've got this nice little cabin behind me here. It's way too big for just one person, but I'm not complaining. I can park the bike right in front of here. It's really beautiful. This is going to be a very long day. The sun is not going to set until 11:30, and in 2 days' time, the sun is not going to set at all. It's just going to stay up the entire time. It's going to be above the polar circle. But for today, the sun is low, but it's still going to take another 2 hours before it sets. I got myself a local beer, and I'm just going to have that and chill and maybe call it an early night. When I arrived in Norway, it was already Saturday night. Departing from Berlin on a Thursday night, I embarked on a 36-hour ferry journey from Germany to Helsinki. The initial 500 kilometers mainly consisted of straight paved roads, allowing me to cover as much ground northward as possible. Nonetheless, I seized the opportunity to deviate onto some brief segments of the Finnish Trans-Eurotrail, adding a touch of excitement to my route as I made my way to my first night's accommodation in Finland.
This is day number 2 in Finland for me. I'll be joining the Trans-Eurotrail here any minute. I'll be spending the better part of the day going on the Trans-Eurotrail. Yesterday was just a bunch of straight roads. Today I'll be on much smaller roads. I have a bit of a late start. It's 10 o'clock already. Quite tired from the previous day, so it took it quite easy this morning with the about 400 kilometers that I have for today. That seems like a lot, but there's plenty of spaces to sort of turn off and go faster routes. So I'm not really concerned about sort of beating my accommodation tonight. It's not that far north from here, so I'll be zigzagging through the countryside. I want to see what Finland has to offer. So this is the exact moment where I'm joining the Trans-Eurotrail, and I'll be following it all the way north. This is, I think, section 1 or 2. I'm not quite sure, but it's one of the older sections that go alongside sort of the east part of Finland, and I should get very close to the Russian border today. See what that's like. So I'm smack in the middle of the TET track here in Finland, and this is one of the smaller roads through the woods, which is quite nice. So it isn't always these large sort of hard-packed roads, but you got some of these here too, which is a bit nicer. Slower, but nicer. A bit sandy at some parts. Just got a peek of, I think, another motorcyclist.
The Trans-Eurotrail tracks proved to be quite solitary during the initial part of the day, until I encountered the only other rider on this journey.
Okay guys, so I met this nice guy from Norway.
Kim, coming from Norway, had ventured to ride the same TET track through Finland, with the intention to return to Norway by traversing the TET sections of Sweden.
Just putting up quite the pace here today.
Since we were essentially traveling along the same route, we decided to share parts of the track together.
So you can see how dusty it is here when I'm following someone relatively closely. Yeah, it was down there. No, it was down there, the to the left. I have to turn around up there. So this looks a little different here from some of the other parts I've been traveling through. It's pretty bare. Not sure what happened to the trees here. Normally you're sort of boxed in by a bunch of trees.
At one juncture we parted ways as I wanted to explore a war memorial near the TET track. Upon returning to the TET track, Kim and I crossed paths once more.
I knew I was gonna see you again.
Did you change your mind?
No, it was boring. It was the wrong thing. Be on the same track again.
I'm gonna be on YouTube now?
Yes, you will be.
Oh.
Alright, I'll catch you in a minute. So that was my Norwegian friend. I took a little detour for that memorial, which wasn't really worth seeing. So I'm back on the TET track. Obviously the TET track was the longer route. I just pulled over and within a few minutes he was actually on the track again. So I'm gonna have a quick break. Just had a Snickers and yeah, I'm starting to wear out a little bit. There's still a couple of hours, 2.5 hours to go on the TET track. If it gets too long, I'll shorten it. But yeah, so far so good.
Well, I just realized something. I've got about 150 kilometers of fuel range left, and it's 120 to get to my accommodation, but there is no gas station anywhere nearby. Good thing I checked, because I'm going to continue on this trek for a little bit, and then let Google help me to find the next gas station. For some reason there's still good reception here, but yeah, you're in Scandinavia, so even in the most remote parts of this country you have somewhat of reception here. But that means I have to leave the TET track a bit earlier than I wanted to, because I'm at the moment very close to the Russian border, and the TET track takes you for a good part along the very eastern side of Finland. There's one gas station that says a 24-hour gas pump. I saw a photo of it. It's a single pump. I hope it works. And that's about 80 kilometers from where I am right now, so I should easily get there. So I think I'll be staying on pavement now till I get to my gas station. And the TET track is turning off to the left in 7 kilometers. So we just ran into our first reindeer. And they're really kind of funny.
I was quite excited to spot my first reindeer in the wild, and this would be just the beginning of many encounters to follow.
Let me tell you, I haven't been that happy to see a gas station in a long time. This is a small little pump here, which is sort of in the middle of nowhere. It's too bad I missed the rest of the TET, but I had about 320 kilometers off the TET today, so it's not bad for a single day. With a bit more gas, I could have finished the TET. But now I'm heading to my accommodation. It's about half an hour from here, 40 kilometers, and I'm really looking forward for the beer. And these flies are just everywhere, so I'm gonna have some mosquitoes and flies, probably because it's close to a lake. We'll see. Anyway, I'm happy to have gas. Let's go. But guess who's here? My Norwegian friend. Of course he's here. Where else would he be? That is hilarious. I mean, there's just so many places you can go, I suppose. You staying here? Yeah, same here.
I was going to Kusamo, but another 80 kilometers.
This is good enough, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's enough for today. It was a long day.
Yeah, me too.
This will be my accommodation for tonight. It's one of these houses, and you gotta check the inside. I'll take you in. It's really, really cool. So, this is what it looks like. I'm gonna turn it up. Quite nice. Small little place with a view onto the lake, which is really cool. It's not gonna get really dark here tonight, I assume. But that's going to be fine. Oh, what an amazing view. Really, really cool. So they have a restaurant here and a bar, and breakfast is included, which is great. And my Norwegian friend, he's also here. So I'm sure we're gonna have dinner tonight and a couple of beers. So it's pretty good for a day.
Nestled amidst the wooden expanse, just 4 kilometers beyond the boundaries of the Hossa National Park, lies this secluded and rustic lodge overlooking the tranquil shores of Hossa Lake. Situated 29 kilometers from the E63 European route, this remote retreat is located right on the TET track in Finland. The Hossa National Park was established on June 17th in 2017 in commemoration of Finland's 100-year anniversary of independence. Kim and I enjoyed a few beers and dinner before calling it a night, but not before sampling some Finnish whiskey.
This is how quickly the weather turns crazy. It wasn't in the forecast. Oh, nice lightning too. So we'll see how it is tomorrow. It's probably going to be good for the tracks that were quite dusty today. If a little bit of water comes down. Whoa. We have a bit of a late start today. First, we had a couple of beers and a couple of beers extra, so it was a long night. So we took it easy this morning. So we're still here. The one thing that I didn't know yesterday, because I had to get gas, is that they indeed have a gas station here. It's really small and old, but we saw a guy fill up yesterday. And that's exactly what Kim's doing now. He's getting some extra fuel for his bike. That could have saved me the whole detour that I did yesterday. And there it is. So it looks really old, but it has gas. So we're going to fuel up and follow the TET track north. And sometime today, we'll be crossing the polar circle. That means that there will be no sundowners anymore for the next few days. The sun's going to stay up in the sky. So it'll be a few days without any nights coming up for me. Just to show you what my Norwegian friend's riding on. He's on a Yamaha, I think it's like C600 something, with a bigger tank. He's got 23 liters. That's what I have on mine. So it gives him about 500 kilometer of fuel range. And it's a much lighter setup. It's perfect for these roads. But we're also a bit concerned about the tire wear. He's got a TKC 80 on the back, and this looks a bit worn. We're going to keep riding like this and see how long the tire holds up.
We're on the go. It's 11 o'clock, so it's definitely a late start. Yesterday's rainy weather turned into blue sky and sunshine again. So let's check out the TET. We'll be following the TET track very close to the Russian border again. So we'll be going in an area that's quite remote. And then by the time we get out of it, we should be getting close to the gas station again. We're now on the first section of dirt road again. So it rained yesterday. And it shows it's probably a lot less dusty. It's nice that these tracks are changing up a bit. It's going through the forest again, but it's not just a straight line right now. Kind of cool. The reindeer sightings are getting more frequent. And I heard these were domesticated reindeer. You can see that on the collar. And they're derpy. They just keep running down the road like yesterday, instead of just going to the side. And it's kind of funny how they run. If they just move over to left or right. I heard they're not the smartest animals. But anyway, they're kind of cute.
Got some weird sensation from, maybe it's in my mind only, but
Do you have a tire pump?
yeah, I have a small pump with me.
I've got one too if you need it. Anything to keep the tire alive longer is probably a good idea.
So we got some more reindeer on the track. And a little one too. So, there you go, guys. Just did a good 70 kilometers of this in one go.
Yeah, so I almost missed the sign up here. We are actually very close to the Russian border. And it's with this sign up here, right there. So yeah, this is probably as close as we're gonna get to the Russian border. Finally, I got some of the good stuff. Bug repellent. My new region friend here told me what to pay attention to, and it's the DEET amount, which has to be 25%. That's the maximum they can put in. So first time I'm trying this stuff out, and screw you mosquitoes. I'm coming prepared. It doesn't smell so bad.
We're heading north on the TET Finland track, and we're following along the Finnish-Russian border. So Russia is sort of to my right. Some parts just a few hundred meters from the track. So obviously this is a green border. You could technically just walk across to Russia from here. Funny situation here. So both of our Garmin Zumo XT units just turned dark at the same spot. And we don't know why. I can hardly see anything on here, but this seems weird that it would happen to both of us at the same time. Maybe the Russians.
Yeah, I thought so too.
It's definitely the Russians.
Yeah, from jamming device.
Yeah. There's no other good explanation than that. It's a beautiful setting here. Got lakes to the left and right of us. And this track is not just going in a straight line. This is a nice change of pace. A couple of turns in there. A bit more interesting. Most of the roads are pretty straight here. It's a bit more of a technical section here. Technical for Finnish TET standards. But it's nice. It slows it down a little bit because it was getting really dusty going so fast, and whoever's going last is eating all the dust. So we took turns today.
Also fun part.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah.
Slower, less dust. That's good. Oh, got to really watch the rocks here. Ah. I mean, good thing is I'm running full tire pressure. Still, it's like rocks that stick out everywhere. Really watch it. So just keep running down the street. It's kind of funny to watch him actually.
After completing the 350 kilometers on the TET trek, we located our accommodation in a town just south of Salla. We concluded the day with dinner and a couple of pints of beer.
It's another beautiful day. It's about 20 degrees out, 10 in the morning. We're going to Salla now, which is just north of where we are right now. This will be the last gas station for the next 300 kilometers on the TET trek. That's a bit less than my range, but of course range can change a little bit in sort of on gravel roads, but it should be okay. But it's also going to be a very long desert stretch. There's nothing there, so it should be quite interesting to see what the scenery looks like, if it's a little bit like we've seen so far, or if it changes up a little bit. But it will be 300 kilometers without anyone there, so I'm quite excited about that. No, yesterday's story with the GPS systems going dark at pretty much the same time, I googled it up a little bit, and it seems since Ukrainian war, close to the Russian border in Finland, there have been other people that have experienced similar issues with their GPS sport watches.
So that looks like a a reindeer gate.
Have a fishing pole.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, let's get lunch then.
I haven't used it yet, but maybe I will later on.
There should be in about 70 kilometers a hilltop coming up where we can go on top and sort of oversee this area. And it looks like we should also be able to see parts of Russia from there. We're still close to Russia, but I'm curious to see that. It's just off the TET track, not very far.
There's a certain beauty to the seemingly monotonous scenery of the endless gravel roads cutting through the Finnish forest. Here in Lapland, the northernmost part of Finland, we enjoyed 300 kilometers of uninterrupted riding along these roads, punctuated only by a brief detour to the Nika hill. The Nika hill rises 445 meters above the relatively flat Finnish wilderness. As one of the highest points in Finland accessible by gravel road, it offers a remarkable vantage point for taking in the vast expanse of Lapland's scenery. As we are still close to the Russian border, Russia can be seen from this hill on a clear day. I was truly grateful for the company of my Norwegian friend Kim over the past 2.5 days, during which we shared the excitement of traversing the northern section of the Finnish Trans-Euro Trail. Particularly on this final day, which proved to be the most deserted and remote segment of the TET trek, having Kim by my side was reassuring, knowing I wouldn't be riding solo in case of any unforeseen events. However, after completing this lengthy 300-kilometer section, our path would soon diverge. Kim intended to head south, returning home, while my journey would lead me farther north. Even though looking at the bike, your bike looked stable. Mine felt like it was like on raw eggs.
It doesn't feel stable, I can do that.
But it looked nice.
This is where we part ways. It's been a pleasure to ride with you.
Yeah, really
Absolutely a good time.
Yeah,
So have a safe trip.
same to you. Ride safely, and if you're ever in Oslo, give me a call.
That sounds good. I have a phone number.
Yeah.
That was great. Good times. Especially with the beer.
Yeah,
Lots of beer.
One more time. Good trip. This is where we part our ways. It's really nice to have some company on this trip, especially off-road sections. That was really cool. Kim is a really nice guy, so I hope he's gonna make it home on his tire. That was wearing pretty quickly. I've got another 60 kilometers to go until I hit my accommodation for tonight. I should get there around 6 o'clock, and then I'm definitely ready for a beer. Well, that didn't take long. I'm smack in the middle of rain. I only have about 15 minutes to get to my accommodation. I just said goodbye to Kim. We were riding all this in the super dry, but we saw these clouds coming up, so I was wondering when it would start to rain. So yeah, here we go. My first rain in Finland, but it's only 15 minutes, so it's not a big deal. But I got my rain gloves out and closed all the vents and the zippers, and I should be at my accommodation very soon.
I'm in my hotel room and I'm just getting ready and getting dressed for the tour of today. And you gotta check out what I see right outside my window here. These guys just hanging out and chilling. Grazing. Big ones too.
I spent the night in this probably skiing town. Looks very much set up for winter sports. It's quite nice. There's a few motorcycle riders that I saw yesterday coming in quite late. It was raining towards the end of the day. I missed most of it. I got a little wet, but nothing too bad. But it was really pouring in the night. As you can see, it's all wet. It's also cooled down quite a bit from the 22 it was yesterday to about 15 degrees. The forecast is about right. Where I'm going, it's gonna stay in that temperature range. So today's day is a 450 kilometer ride to the North Cape, all on pavement, pretty much a straight way from where I'm right now. Means I'm down here in Finland and I'll be crossing the border to Norway, and there's a straight shot up to the North Cape. Just a few days ago when I entered Finland, I was so excited to see my first reindeer. Now they have become a very common sight everywhere I go, on the side of the road, close to hotels, and any of the off-road treks that we took. There's a ton of reindeer, and it's still kind of cool to see them, but this must have been 100 now, and I'm sure this is not the last of it.
My journey now follows one of the larger main roads, where I share the route with fellow motorcycle riders heading north. These will also mark the final hours of my time in Finland, with the endless lakes and forests, as I soon be entering Norway for the final stretch to the North Cape.
I've ridden about 2,200 kilometers on this trip. I've got another 4,300 to go, so I think the total is 6,500 if I ride the tour as I was planning it. So about a third into the trip. Okay, this is it. Okay. I guess we're in Norway. Goodbye Finland, hello Norway. So I took a little detour to one of these dirt tracks to the side just to see what it looks like. It was very long, but it was just nice to get off the paved road for a second. This looks like there's a little mountain pass on the way to the Nordkapp. There's snow up here. This is the most curvy roads I've seen this entire trip. That's very cool. We're not really high, it's 240 meters above sea level. It could be 1,000, 1,500 for all that matters, because there are no trees. This could be at any higher elevation. It looks a lot colder than it is. It's 18 degrees, so it's relatively warm. So I'll check in and then check out the... It's actually a good thing I tried to check in beforehand. Somehow they messed up my reservation and double booked the cabin I had. And the other guys were there before me. It's 4 o'clock now, almost 4 o'clock. That's pretty bad, and they're booked out on the sort of luxury cabins that have like grand suite bathrooms and stuff. But he gave me an economy cabin for free. It means there's an outdoor toilet and shower. Very basic, but I have a place to sleep tonight. And I won't be staying long anyway, because my plan is to come back here very early in the morning when there's no one here. But I still have time today, so it's 4 o'clock. I'm gonna check it out and see how crazy it actually is. I know there's loads of buses and stuff, but we'll see what it's like. I'm very close to the entrance. I saw all these camper vans. That's one, oh my god. It is absolutely insane.
Hi, I have a question.
Yeah.
The parking is for free, right?
Yeah, parking outside is free, but we need a ticket only for the visitors.
Oh, okay. So I can just go and park?
Yeah, the parking is also flat.
This on this side?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you change your mind, you can buy it in the reception.
Okay, very cool. Thank you very much. Have a good day. So, hier stellt man sich hin mit dem Moped, oder?
Warum eins? Vor die Kugel.
Mache ich auch so. Ich wollte heute mal gucken, wie es so aussieht.
Wir hatten, ich auch, Geburtstag
Ja,
heute.
herzlichen Glückwunsch.
Danke. Und da haben wir zu dritt, also es waren 3 so verrückt, aber dann reicht denn jetzt das Bild hin.
Ach, geil. Ja, genau, so ein Bild braucht man,
Das
oder?
war so gegen ungefähr so um 2 herum. Also ich bin um 3 erst hier los.
Ist ja super, super Licht.
Ja, ganz alleine.
I anticipated that this location would be bustling with tourists during the day, but arriving early gave me the chance to get the lay of the land. With my accommodation located only 14 kilometers south of the North Cape, I decided to head down to the nearby town of Skarsvåg for dinner, fully aware that I would return after 2 o'clock in the morning. Skarsvåg is the closest town to the North Cape, and it claims the distinction of being the world's northernmost fishing village.